day-to-day reportage, how difficult is it? Because you can't get into the Gaza Strip of Palestine unless you are accompanied, if at all. So, where are you based out of, and how does it work like on the ground for you?
Sure. So I, like many foreign correspondents, we can't get into Gaza.
Hmm.
We've actually, the Foreign Press Association has actually sued the Israeli government to let us in. Their argument is that it's not safe.
Well, considering depending on whose numbers you go by, between 170 to 200 Palestinian journalists have been killed in Palestine by the Israeli forces.
Correct.
I wonder where the
Correct.
danger comes from.
And exactly, and our argument is that in our argument is that, well, we go to dangerous places in Ukraine, for instance, and I think also many, I know for a fact that senior Israeli officials have told me that their ability, I'm sorry, the transmission of these images out of Gaza, especially into the Arab world, has a serious impact on how long they can sustain this war for. So sort of the public perception, I mean, it's not kind of this issue of like battlefield attrition or whatever. I mean, this is completely kind of a war waged against, a ticking clock that is kind of, set by public opinion.
I see.
And then that goes back to your original point about, is the tide now turning? And just very quickly on that, I would say that there's definitely been a shift. As you say, Germany, right, being kind of this very unusually sort of, rare criticism given its history and given how they've often, supported Israel. And so, yeah, I think it's just the fact that, the tenor of the war has turned so much darker from the early days of kind of this just war to get our hostages out, or even as retribution for this awful massacre of Israeli civilians. It's now become this, it's quite obvious what the true objectives of the war is. It's not about the hostages, and Israeli politicians have been quite clear that they would rather sacrifice the hostages and pursue the full conquest of Gaza. The humanitarian blockade, the chaos surrounding the aid plan, I think that, diplomatically, that's definitely, we've seen a lot of change. The U.S., Trump also seems fed up with this. That's a big kind of X factor. But I would say that as long as there's no sort of arms embargo, the Israeli government can certainly weather it.